Yes, welcome back. Secret House Against the World, the world's greatest trio of hip-hop album reviewing people in Tokyo. Today, well, first, man, peace. Welcome, Happy New Year. We took a nice long sabbatical. A couple of us went places. A couple of us have been places. We was just busy. We was biding our time. We was also plotting and scheming on how to request money from y'all with a new Patreon that we're going to discuss today and figure out if there's anything that we can incentivize you guys to help pay for these guys' train fare and potentially highballs, alcohol, maybe new shoes, these type of things, we'll have a video about that, I imagine, at some point, right? But yeah, today we're back. As you can see down at the bottom, today we are reviewing the new Mike album, Beware of the Monkey. And as we do with this YouTube review channel, conversation channel, I like to talk about our experiences with the artist. If you're a longtime watcher, you have undoubtedly come across the video that is the most viewed video on our channel, which is a song discussion with a couple of my other people, my man MJ the Sensei, my cousin A Valley. Shout out to the Black Seminoles. More people about to hear about that because that's the first song title on the new Lil Yachty album. Yeah, but shout out to my cousin A Valley and also my man Buddha. And so, yeah, you guys know I like Mike. I'm a big fan of Mike. I have been since May God Bless Your Hustle. I think I got that album right around the time that it was coming out. Like, I don't know what year is that, 2018, 17, something like that. So I'm a big Mike supporter and a big fan of Mike. I do think that he's kind of very influential, and a lot of people have kind of taken his approach to rapping and production and followed through with it. I do think that he really influenced Earl, and some rap songs is off the back of that. But big fan. Y'all?
Sure. I mean, I've been familiar with him for a hot minute. Disco was the first album I actually listened to in its entirety. Mostly because you motherfuckers will not shut the fuck up about
I do love Disco.
Love Disco. That was a very, very loved album. And I can see why. It's really, really good. Yeah. It's better than this album, even. I
don't disagree with you.
I don't either, actually.
Yeah,
that was my album of the year 2 years ago.
Yes, that's correct. I believe we probably talked about that.
Yeah, a little bit. On the album review show.
That was the first time I'd actually listened to a Mike album in its entirety. And yeah, I'm a fan casually. Maybe, the Odd Cypher Divine video that blew up on this channel, relatively speaking.
Got like
obviously,
over 1,000 views though.
All those cats were rappers.
That's true.
Everybody who had joined you in this room were rappers. And Mike is definitely a rapper's rapper.
I agree with you.
So
in that regard. Yeah. What about you, Spade?
All right, so I got hip to do when he put out that 3-piece with Wiki, because I'm a Wiki fan.
Oh, okay.
So when he put that Alchemist, I'm like, who's Mike? And I actually liked that 3-piece they threw out. But then I went back after I listened to this album, listened to Disco, and I must agree with you guys. Disco was a damn good album. And I'll leave it at that until we get into the critiques.
Sure. Okay, well, bet. Yeah, just to kind of put a capstone on it, I really love Disco, and my favorite Mike album is probably War in My Pen, followed by maybe Disco or May God Bless Your Hustle, and then it trickles down to a few of his other projects. I'm not actually sure how many projects Mike has. I usually like to get that information, but seeing that he's an independent artist and he's put out EPs and a variety of different things on Bandcamp, I had a hard time tracking that down completely. But this album, Beware of the Monkey, is 13 songs and 33 minutes long. It's produced in its entirety by Mike under his producer title DJ Black Power. And should I just go into my feelings about the album? General
DJ Black Power?
Yeah.
That power was not hitting that hard. That power, he need another charge, buddy.
He black as hell, though.
He black, but I don't know about the power part. The black part, I agree with. The power part, I don't know about that one.
Let's get into it.
Well, yeah, when I first got this Mike album, I had heard the Sister Nancy track.
Sister Nancy feature. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
The Stop Worry joint. Shout out to Sister
Legendary.
Nancy. I actually, one of my claims to fame, I met you got not to pat myself on the back. I met a lot of people that I like.
Pat
But
yourself, man.
one time when I was bartending at a reggae dance hall club that I did for a few years, we got Sister Nancy in the building, and I got to hit the same blunt as Sister Nancy. So when I die, make sure that that's like scribbled on the back of my tombstone, because she's just a legend. Like, everybody knows the jams from Sister Nancy, and that's a wild get. But that was the first song I heard on the album, and to be quite honest with you, I liked it, but I was a little lukewarm to it. It didn't hit me like Evil Eye did on Disco, and it was just like, all right, this is a different vibe. Mike is a vibey guy. Let's see what the album entails, like what it's about. I know he's a New York cat, so even if he's not Jamaican, I think his family's from Ghana and through the UK,
the diaspora.
Still, I was like, oh, maybe he tapping into that. And, Mike is very personal, so I thought I might go for that. But he's also very emotionally evocative and very kind of personal with his lyrics. So I was like, all right, this is all right. But my first playthrough through the album, I really only liked 3 tracks. And then I thought it was good, but I know with Mike, for me at least, I have to listen to it a little bit more. Sometimes I have it on a background and it becomes the vibe for me. And I do like more tracks than that now, but the 3 tracks that I initially enjoyed are my favorite tracks. I love Eczema. It reminds me a little bit of that same aesthetic from We Saw Mad Turtles. How it sounds like the beat is in another room. And I knew Spade would be like, what the hell are they doing here? They could have done this better. I know, what is this shit? But you remember that We Saw Mad Turtles joint, and it sounds like that. And I was like, oh, that's real. Maybe he heard that Serengeti. Shout out to Serengeti. But I like that joint a lot. A big fan of that. Ipari Park with Klein, or is it pronounced Klein or Clean?
No idea.
Bro, that shit to me is fucking lovely. I was in Cali and my nephew, he got a ride with the real system in it, and I put that on and I was like, word. This shit even hits in the car, which is unusual for this genre of music, because a lot of people that listen to this listen to it at house, computer speakers, headphones, and it doesn't necessarily bump in the whip, so to speak. Dead End Hip Hop, shout out. But I like that. And then my last joint that I really like was Concrete with King Carter. And those are my 3 high points of the album. I do have a lot to say about the other tracks, but I'm gonna let y'all get y'all's off.
I can hop it into it, man. And let me be delicate when I say this. And thank God for time.
Oh, word.
Because we were supposed to review this album a month ago, I think.
Yeah. Right about a month ago. 4 weeks ago.
And on initial listen, I thought this album was garbage.
Yuck. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Like, I seriously thought this album was garbage the first listen. But I let it sit for 2 weeks and I came back to it. And then I got more out of it. So thank God for time. However, I will say this album is disappointing when I listen to the rest of his catalog.
Word.
When I listen to his other songs, I'm like, what were you doing with this album? It sounds like a DIY project where dude got the MacBook and the Bluebird microphone. It's like, yeah, I'm finna go make this track and do everything. It's like he did everything on Logix, bro. Like, the tracks, to me, the production was subpar. The loops did not change. They were not interesting at all. And I was just like, bruh, I don't know what you're trying to do. However, the greatness of this album is the lyrics in the delivery.
If I can stop you, before we were going to record that Mike and Wiki Alchemist trio collab, you was like, man, Mike need to step up his bars. And I was like, wait a minute.
I was wrong.
Wait a minute.
I was wrong.
But yeah.
Like, dude's delivery and his cadence is on point. I just didn't like how it was presented. It sounded like he recorded all his vocals on the iPhone, bro. Like, hey, man. I'm like, why are you giving me this steak dinner on the garbage can lid, my guy?
Okay.
But, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I don't want to... I don't want, okay, so I have some opinions on the singing particularly, right? Because on first listen, I was like, because, it's the first thing you hear from Mike is Nothing I Can Do It Wrong, is he starts drunkenly, slurring the lyrics through an iPhone or whatever before he starts rapping. And now I actually think it's one of my favorite elements of the album. When he's singing on the record, it always kind of has a certain, I don't know if a pathos to it. At the beginning, he opens with a bit of levity. This album, I don't think is necessarily meant to be seen as another grand chapter in the grand tapestry of what is Mike. This is an album where it's he's just kind of having fun. He's doing his own thing, and he's, it's all his own production and stuff like that. And he sets the scene by quite literally enjoying his own music. He's like singing along to it. You also have the singing on what is it? What Do I Do? Yeah. Has the singing on there, and on that joint, it's like kind of serves a different purpose, where it's like you get like a more personal, like bare look at Mike as a character. And, you know, I think that kind of adds to this kind of sense of vulnerability that he kind of puts across on that track, you know, because he's just singing and he's like not singing that well.
Sure.
Not at all. And I genuinely think now that that was a very intentional choice on Mike's part, that he didn't clean it up, he didn't sanitize it. And Mike isn't a sanitized rapper, of course, but something I do just genuinely enjoy about this record is that every time I look at something I do or don't much care for on the record, if I think about it, I can think of a reason why he might have been being very clever about it at the same time. For example, you know, something that you kind of have mentioned on here before, and something that had stuck with me a lot the first time we talked about it when we first became friends, is this idea of rappers as drummers or rappers as horn players. And Mike is very good at both.
His syllable counting is almost impeccable to the point. And let me let you get your shit off.
So when you see him on drumless tracks, quite often he does provide the rhythmic core of it. He will do his delivery. You see it on the first like 3 tracks he does.
Yeah, he says those tracks
where
with the lyrics.
He will have these kind of para rhymes, you know, or semi rhymes, and then he'll emphasize like one syllable in a word that rhymes with the same syllable in the next bar and the next bar and the next bar.
He's a king of assonance.
And he creates this kind of, it's assonant, but at the same time, you know, so rhythmically consistent that it's like you have these kind of semi-rhymes or para-rhymes that are like serving as like the hi-hat, like a closed hi-hat. Yeah. And then you'll have like a snare or a crash cymbal or something like that where syllabically it all kind of comes together. Conversely, if you look at, sorry, I got to pull the track list back up, Tapestry. Tapestry is probably my favorite beat on the album as a beat. I think compositionally it's very pretty and it sounds good and it kind of bangs. Lyrically is probably like Mike's least interesting performance on the record to me.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, oh, so here where he's pushed the beat a little bit more to the forefront rather than it being like a mood setting or part of the scene, he's pushed the production forward, so he's pulled back a little bit lyrically. And I feel like in a lot of the things I didn't much care for on first listen about the album, I can quite easily see a justification for.
I do think that he is making artistic choices in the way that he's presenting these lyrics, in the way that the way that he's presenting these lyrics, and all of the choices that he's making in terms of how he's presenting you with that track. I really do think that on Eczema, you know, that beat is pushed so far in the back. I think I got a sample of it. But if you listen to the assonance, it's almost like he wants you to count the drums with his voice, because he has this if I could go off, he has a very strong assonant style where he'll take like the long E sound and just run it. And in that sense, I get this really strong drumming vibe from Mike. And because the sounds are so similar, it's easy to let the lyrics just become part of the background noise. And that's where I get more of the vibe from. And I do think that on Eczema, he is incredible with that. Let me play it if you guys would give me just a second to pull it up. I have the sample here. What is it?
By the way, I agree with everything you guys said about him being a drummer and layering his stuff over the song. That's the only thing to save a lot of these tracks for me personally. Okay. I feel like this album is limited by his production style and the lack of interesting flip ups or anything like that. But only thing that when on second listen, I was like, okay, you can carry this album because you got bars. But if it wasn't for those bars, oh my God, this would be so much trash. But limited by the beats, in my opinion.
Let me play that beat. I would feel like I
do want to get back to that.
Minded. Yeah, I feel. I want to get
back to that. But yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So the way that it you know, these kind of empty palettes. So many other MCs kind of have the same approach. If you listen to Billy Woods, it's the same, and it's like you kind of have to, like with Billy Woods, he's not the type of MC to end a bar with the same words or even have rhyming bars. It's mostly his voice on how you follow it, and it's almost horn-like in terms of his approach. But with Mike,
could, like,
it's
draw
very,
it like his intonation.
With Mike, it is just like, you know what I mean? And like Eczema, at first I played it many times. I wasn't thinking about the lyrics, and then next thing I know, I knew all the lyrics like I had just been listening to the beat. But let me play it.
In my mind is hella replaying times I didn't behave, times I had to be patient, trying for me each day. Light on me, decaying, spy with
all that E.
Silently I keep swaying, trying to find a peace day. Now I got E, baby. At the sea, babe, my areas of defeat raised me. Tell you how the creed tastes, can tell you I'm the chief. I heard this what the streets saying. It could be the feast, maybe it's the cheese lately. Maybe in the sea, shit was scaring till the sea waves. Breaking through the east, through the terror and the bleak pavement. Fair being cheapskated. Chase me out my dreams, I'm the mirror of my deep hatred.
Chase me out my dreams, I'm the mirror of my deep hatred.
It's so good, but can you use a de-esser, my guy? Like,
I think that's okay. I actually can't really debate any of that with you because I don't have the production prowess as you and that ear preference. But I do like I think it adds a little bit to it. Like the S is part of that. When you listen to that, not only is he rocking the hard assonance E, but there's also other interrhymes with the assonance, and the syllable counts are almost all the same. Almost all the same, and it just kind of makes you forget that you're listening. You're supposed to be listening to the lyrics, and that's one of my favorite things about Mike, because you kind of forget. You can the beat kind of just falls away from you, and it just becomes a vibe. But then when you start to peel back the layer, he's kind of like a spiritual ancestor of the song by Biggie. What was it called? The Suicide Joint. Let me I'm so absent-minded today. I didn't eat anything. I think that's what's going on. But
nobody killed you.
But yeah, suicidal tendency. What is it called? I wrote it down. Suicidal thoughts. Jeez. But because he is one of those artists, and just seeing his fan base, there's very few artists that I have seen that impact people emotionally the same way Mike's fandom responds to it. I feel like Kid Cudi has saved people's lives. His music has people want to commit suicide. Kid Cudi has saved people's lives. Somebody like Slug from Atmosphere is a person that people listen and it emotionally resonates with them, and not in a sense like, damn, that was real as fuck, but in a sense it's like, this is me coming through. And Mike's lyrics are always so open, vulnerable, and there's an optimism, there's a deep kind of coolness to it at the same time. And if I don't like the song, I might just let it play and forget about it. But then a vibe catches me with the music, and then I start to peel back the lyrics, and I'm like, damn, dog, I'm the mirror of my deep hatred too, bro. Like, oh shit.
He dropped
Mike
the bars.
is like that,
there,
bro.
yeah.
Like he is like that, and I think that's one of the appeals for Mike. And one of the reasons I kind of feel that he's a little bit underrated is because he was on the forefront, and he does mention that a lot in this album.
Can I ask you something? Because this is one thing. When I first heard this album, I was like, is dude kind of jacking Billy Woods style, or was Billy Woods jacking this guy's style?
Well, you could probably, Billy Woods has been doing hip hop and making hip hop from the early 2000s, so he ain't jacking nobody's shit really. But this is kind of the spiritual ancestor of the independent underground hip hop scene.
Right. Okay.
Like Rock Marciano is one of the first cats that did away with the drums. You know what I mean? But his beats are different. His content's different. And of course, that's how art kind of flourishes. But there are a lot of Mike Light type of cats.
I feel like Billy Woods is the bellwether now of this genre of music. So I kind of like hold everybody up to Billy Woods because, well, even though I'm more of a Lucid fan, Billy Woods seemed to have more burn. So when I heard this, I couldn't help but be like, are you knocking off Woods? Are you a knockoff Woods? Until I heard the cadence style. I'm like, okay, no, you're a little different.
I've heard people be like, Mike is biting Earl. And I do think that Earl is kind of more responsible for Mike. Mike is more responsible for Earl going this direction, along with a lot of cats. But also, this was a kind of just like all culture happens. It starts as subculture and then it trickles downstream into the mainstream. And so a lot of people are aping this type of style. But Mike, to me, is still kind of. he's in a class of his own because nobody's really doing it like him. And he makes that well known on the album too. He's got a lot of lyrics like, yo, like,
I'm the best rapper.
I'm dope. Like, I'm the one carrying this. Like, there's so many points. It's not all just like, yo, I'm hella sad, bro. Like, some shit made me sad, or here goes something made me open. A lot of that shit is him just being like, yo, we dope. Don't forget we fucking dope. And his music, his beat production style, and I played a beat for you way back in the day, the Never Knock beat. I've never heard anybody make a beat like that before, and that's some Mike shit. And now Mike's new approach, I do think that like songs like Tapestry, right? Of course, a tapestry is, we all know what a big ass tapestry is, but he says it here. He says, drifts in agony. They say I learned to talk my shit too casually. I'd rather trip. I can't exist too passively. This big tapestry. I think he's signaling to us that like, I'm putting all of this together and all of these aspects are different, but they all make me. In music concrete with the little accent mark, isn't that supposed to, like, you might know more about this.
Music concrete is like
it was created by a French electronic musician in the 1950s, right? And all that was, you want to go off on it or you want me to go?
No, I get it.
All it was is it was found sound. It was found sound and creating new sound with found sound. Whereas like the pure electronic artists had like synthesizers and making their own shit. But they were taking samples, they were taking sounds, they were taking like, ambient noise.
The earliest incarnation of like plunderphonics and
with the zoom out there getting sounds.
Cut up styles, cutting the tape, re-gluing it together. And I think that Mike is really I really do think that as simple as this music can be viewed, I think there's a lot of intention here with his work, and he's really trying to hip cats to like, yo, this is straight art, bro, and I like that.
I did have a question. I wasn't trying, rather than trying to like gotcha. One thing I was curious about for you, Spade, is, you mentioned, obviously the beats don't particularly evolve a lot, but I feel like the beats have too short of an attention span for that to be like a problem for me. Like every track on here is like 2 minutes long. And usually has like a skit or kind of evolves into something a little more like non-musical, like towards the beginning or the end of each track. The last track on their closing credits, which is an early candidate for one of my favorite songs of the year, is my favorite track on the album. Personally,
it comes in with like some Brazilian tropicalismo type of sample.
I love that opening sample as well. And then by the end of the track is something completely different. Likewise with Light, which was one sample I found kind of annoying. The little light I didn't much care for, but when Jadasea comes on there, shouts out Jadasea, big up South London, etc., don't know. When he comes on there, it's a complete switch up, like the string section, everything like that. I think the chord sequence on there is actually quite beautiful, and Jadasea gets it as well. So I was just wondering if there was anything in particular that like, made those beats like great for you.
Light made me think of you, Spade, because that was a Blue Balls track for me.
I mean,
I was like, where's the drum drop? It feels like it's about to come, and it never comes, and I was mad about it.
For me, I don't know if it's a function of me listening to a lot of this music now,
right?
But I feel like it's been done better, even in this style. That last 3-piece he's on with Alchemist did a great job with this. I felt like the loops, some of them was actually decent. The samples were decent, but they didn't change up. He didn't give me no variation on them. They tend to be on the high side, so frequency wise, it gets annoying. It gurts in your ear, and that could have been intentional. But for me, I'm just like, all right, we're just right here and we're droning along. The only thing that's saving this, and this could be a genius move on his part, because I had to listen to the lyrics to try to break out the monotony of it. But if I'm trying to listen to the song, it doesn't resolve. There's no like progression in it. It's just this. Like, this is what you get. And you might get a little switch up on the end. But one of the things I think just doesn't pull me as much with this album is the production. There's quite a few songs that I just, and it's not to say that I'm really critiquing it from a sense that they could be changed, they could be improved. It's just a lot of them didn't grab me. And the ones that did, really did. Like that, hold up. Hold on. Good sample.
No, I think that's Klein singing.
Oh, that's why it's good. Okay.
But those piano keys in the background,
That's
and
a
then
sample though, right?
probably,
Yeah.
probably. I mean, I don't know if she plays, but she's dope. I got hip to her from this album. Like, she makes a lot of ambient, and you know I'm big into ambient, but her shit is ill. And you know Mike goes into the shit too.
In my strong face, we young, but we really came from shit such a long way. Ain't nobody gave me hints, so it's gone. Change my thoughts and my
The bass is saving this track for me.
The bass line.
Yeah.
I like the piano run too. Like,
I like all of this track.
yeah, I love this. I love this. This is probably my favorite track on the album. I just think
That's the hardest.
That Sheila, yeah, this is one that plays well in a car. But yeah, I mean that joint is just ill to me. I especially love that track in.
I mean, it shares a lot of qualities with the Fly Anakin joint that was my favorite song of last year, so that's probably why.
Okay, bet. I
That's
didn't
probably why
connect
you
it
don't
like that.
like it and why I do like it so much.
No, but that's actually a good question. It's a good point.
Similar
though.
chord progression
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, it's just not my cup of tea. That's why I was like, I'm glad we waited. Because had I came with my first take, all y'all would have just been like, that's why I hate that guy.
You would have got that first
Yeah.
Arm & Hammer review hate
Oh,
on that shit.
Because the first time I was like, I'm out. But due to time, I was like, okay, I get it now, bro. I get it. So, yes, anybody who likes this guy, are we going who I recommend this to?
Yeah.
I don't
Unless you
talk
have
to
something
police
else.
or converse with them. I love that shit, bro. I don't talk to police or converse with them. Yeah, man. Yeah. Who do you recommend this to?
I recommend this to people who like Nas and who use that whole, like, I don't listen to the beat. I listen to the lyrics type feel. Listen to this guy's
Let him
lyrics. Like, dead ass. The lyricism in this is worth listening to. If you're a production guy like me, the beats are not going to stand out. You're going to kind of get turned off. Also, the mixing is terrible. It's just bad. It could be intentional, but it's just a bad mix, a bad overall feel. But hang in there is what I'm saying. Hang in there. The lyrics makes it worth it.
I would recommend this album to most of my rapper friends who get stuck in the habit of thinking that a rhyme scheme is couplets, even if you're placing those couplets in interesting places.
Oh, damn, that's good.
Which is why I kind of agree with you on the Nas thing. Because Nas can rap real good, but like there's this idea, I think, among a lot of young rappers that that's like a gold standard.
Yes.
But also Nas kind of has a kind of singular like vocal tone.
Yeah.
He doesn't really
He's Nas.
put a lot of emphasis into the shit unless he's doing that 1950s gangster thing he did on that one album. Yeah, see, it's Nas, see, trying to rap, see, yeah.
It's not,
That shit?
Not going
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my impression was bad, but Nas, that was also bad.
So bad.
Shout out to Nas, subscriber, maybe, hopefully. I don't know. We're gonna review a
Manifest
Fashawn
that,
album or some
man.
shit.
Manifest
you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's actually a really good pull, and I really didn't think about who I would recommend this to. I suppose if you're an Odd Future fan who somehow has missed what Earl has been doing, you might want to check this out. I would also recommend this to lo-fi beat makers.
Yes.
I would recommend this to guys
Yes.
Good pull.
who are on those like chill beats
Yeah.
to masturbate to type of playlists and shit. You know,
Is that what they do to him? I didn't know that.
they
Word.
got a lot. There's like lo-fi beats to hug your homies to. There's lo-fi beats to do anything to. And like, I think that what Mike does production-wise is just a tad bit more interesting, but sonically it has those same lo-fi qualities.
I would
So
agree.
You might find something.
Lo-fi is garbage to me, and this is way better than lo-fi.
Yeah, word. I actually
Make
didn't-
real beats,
that
lo-fi
Nas,
guys.
That Nas pool is actually really good. I was kind of surprised, but the way that y'all fucking finesse it, you gotta let the man cook sometimes.
Thank you, man.
As soon as you said it, I was like, I know exactly where
Yeah,
he's
you
going
go
with
with
this.
this.
No, but when you think about it, because you know Nas's voice, he's not a really like
He doesn't play with his voice.
he doesn't play with
At
his
all.
voice.
He's
yeah.
Nas.
You know, so
it's
like,
Nas.
Mike is kind of the same way. Even with the singing, it sounds like, oh, you know,
Oh, it's Mike.
word, man.
Hey,
I don't
Mike.
talk to police or converse with them. Yeah, all right.
And there's
man, see
always
what
intention with why he uses his voice the way he does, and that's what's really dope with me. Even the singing at the beginning of the album to, I'm repeating myself.
Oh, I want to say one more thing.
Yeah, get it.
That King Carter verse on Concrete is ill. I fucking like King Carter on that joint a lot. And release a full length. You know what I mean? I know you listen.
Do it.
I'm just gonna pretend that everybody
Everybody's
listens.
listening.
Let's manifest it this year. King Carter, please release the full length. I want to hear it. He's so dope. He's on. He got an album here or there somewhere, on Bandcamp or hidden in the archive or something. But only time I ever really see him is on Mike's album. And the way that he pulled the shit off on this joint, he's like he kills the assonance style. He kind of follows the exact same thought process that Mike has in his lines. It's dope. Secret House.
Fuck the all right.
Police, a converse with,
It's a hard bar.
Yeah. Let's go. I identify with it. I don't talk
me
to
too,
no police.
actually, yeah.
Oh, shout out Tokyo people. I have the documents for a class action lawsuit against Japanese police force for racial profiling.
About time.
Yeah, I got it. I've got the documents. If you want to be involved in that, hit me up.
Man, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I got
Thank
it.
you.
I got it.
Like
I got
dead
it.
ass.
I don't care if I get $1 for it.
You know how many times these dreads done got me stopped?
I've been stopped 13 times in my recollection.
Yeah, 7 maybe.
Because dreads means drugs. However, the real drug dealers are white guys with briefcase. Ask me how I know.
Hey, and in Ikebukuro, they Chinese. Shout out to Chinese for holding it down for the black folks. Y'all getting caught. The Dragon Gang.
I got 2 degrees, some certifications, but I'm getting stopped every goddamn Saturday because I got dreads. Of course I got the ganja.
Spade don't even drink. Shit.
I don't smoke or drink, bruh. I got an orange jacket on and dreads, so that means drugs. Right. Thank you, dead ass.
I am actually the greatest arms dealer in Japanese history, but yeah. Fuck the all right.
And the police.